Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Just wanted to jump in here and give you guys a quick episode around a little bit of drama that's occurring in Chicago right now. Now, listen, if you talk to Bears fans, this is a big nothing burger. Just like earlier in the week, we were breaking down the quarterback comparison between Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. Now, the Bears fans think we're obsessed with Caleb Williams. What they don't understand is every single opponent we face every week, we do a quarterback deep dive and kind of compare the quarterbacks, compare the edge rushers, compare the offensive lines, and do a little extensive research into, all right, which team actually has the edge. Boy, when you dive into this quarterback comparison between Jordan Love and Caleb Williams, it goes off the rails really, really quick. It's not even close. Who's the better quarterback? Now, Caleb, elite scrambler. We talk about that all the time. It's definitely his superpower, something you've got to focus on stopping, because if you make him throw from within the pocket, you make him play quarterback, you've got a much better shot of beating the Chicago Bears. However, we were told all week in diving into this stuff and diving into these statistics, no matter how many stats you show them, we're coming with a group of about 10 to 12 different statistics that show Caleb Williams is not an efficient quarterback by no stretch of the imagination, right? Now, they seem to think that's all hogwash. You just need to watch the tape. You need to stop looking at the statistics. You need to stop looking at the NFL Pro data. You need to stop looking at the PFF grades. You need to stop looking at the EPA. You need to stop looking at the completion percentage. You need to stop looking at the adjusted completion percentage and just focus on the game, right? Well, maybe they'll believe it now that their head coach is openly talking about how crappy their passing game is. We're going to dive into that right now. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. If you're looking for that type of content and you want to be notified every time we do go live in the future, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you are getting that notification. Like tonight, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We're going to be doing Chalk Talk, breaking down the 15 most important plays from the Packers' victory on Thanksgiving Day over the Detroit Lions. Just got a couple more plays to diagram. If you're following me on Twitter at Packers_access, you're seeing some of those shots go out on Twitter just to kind of give everybody an idea of the theme for tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'd love to have you in here. Make sure you, like I said, hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified. Let's jump into it. So this came from a Pro Football Talk article. All right. And obviously, this is Mike Florio's website, and this is an excerpt from that. So make sure you go to Mike Florio's site, give it a click, go to his Twitter account, all that good stuff. I just pulled a paragraph or two out from that article, and I said, ouch, Bears head coach Ben Johnson knows all too well how bad Caleb Williams is playing. Makes you wonder how Bears fans thinks he's a franchise quarterback. All right, so here's a part of the article here. After Johnson was hired this offseason, he set a goal for quarterback Caleb Williams to complete 70% of his passes. Listen, that wasn't the media drumming that up. That wasn't fans making that up out of thin air. That was Ben Johnson saying, I set a goal, and I think Caleb even mentioned it, of 70% completion percentage. So if completion percentage doesn't matter, why is the coach setting a goal for his quarterback? It's almost like he's seen this coming. It's almost like he's attending practice and training camp and going, this guy couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a mop. Why can't he throw accurately? Is it because he's always throwing off platform? Is it because he always is a one read and move type quarterback and he's never learning his side adjustments, never staying on time within the system? Is his footwork not lined up with the rest of the offense, timed up, all that stuff, right? So again, 70% of his passes. Williams has not reached that number in any of the team's games, and he's completing, listen to this, guys, 58.1% of his passes on the season, which is last among the 33 qualified quarterbacks in the league this season. I repeat, he's dead last of all starting quarterbacks across the National Football League in completion percentage. On Monday, Ben Johnson was asked about Williams' lack of accuracy in a press conference. He acknowledged that it was a blustery day in Philadelphia last Thursday, but that is, quote, an area that we are certainly talking about, end of quote, with the quarterback and everyone else on the offense. Quote, we got to fundamentally be correct, Johnson said. Listen to this quote here. The primary receiver, when he's open, we've got to make sure we hit him. And then all of our pass catchers, we just harp on it today. We need to be more disciplined in the route detail. It's not where it needs to be. Our depth's not proper all the time. Our steps aren't. Talking about the quarterback steps and obviously the receiver steps in the route tree and everything else. Everybody has a role to play to get the pass game cleaned up. It's not where it needs to be. We're winning in spite of our passing game, not because of it, and none of us are pleased with that right now. None of us. So he's kind of putting it on the collective group, but essentially what he's saying here, and I want to give a shout out, Wendell Ferreira grabbed the tweet and he quote tweeted it, and this is the one that stood out to me too. When was the last time you heard a head coach of a football team say, quote, we're winning in spite of our passing game? As Wendell said, that's a hell of a quote there, right? He's basically saying we're winning in spite of Caleb Williams. That's what he's saying. And with that being said, what have we said all week while Bears fans continue to pretend to be living in this fairy tale land that no, Caleb's playing good football? The way we approached it earlier in the week when Bears fans picked it up and they just lost their mind over it, we were saying, boys, Caleb's the only thing holding this Bears team back. Bears fans are too stupid to realize that's a compliment. That's like, you guys have a solid football team. They've actually put together a winning organization, and your quarterback is really the only thing holding you back. But they can't handle that. They can't handle the fact that they're all in on Caleb Williams, just like they were Justin Fields. How did that work out? Just like they did with Mitch Trubisky. How did that work out? You know, the quarterback that you took over Pat Mahomes, that guy, right? Again, Bears fans can't get out of their own way. They're constantly so quick to defend anything Ryan Poles has done at the quarterback position that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't know how to evaluate quarterback play. You guys remember the episode, and you could probably find it if you search on the YouTube channel, we did several weeks ago, where it was an article put out by, I think it was, was his name Tyler Dunn, I believe, where they had former staff members that are no longer with the Chicago Bears talking about the process leading up to the draft in which they took Caleb Williams. And those staff members liked Drake May. And literally Ryan Poles got him in there and just scolded everybody and said it was making him sick at his stomach watching Drake May play football in college, like watching the scouting tape. You guys remember that? How's May doing right now? Somebody remind me. He's arguably a top 3 quarterback in the league. And here your general manager literally tore him apart in the scouting room, in the film room, putting on lowlights, they said, of Drake May, pointing out why he was so bad and why Caleb Williams was the answer. And then here we are, as those scouting members and people of the staff that's since been fired. Funny how that works, right? If you're not a yes man, your ass is out the door, right? And again, we're not talking about coaches. We're talking about actual people in the personnel department that were going, hey, this ain't right. Like, it's weird how you're tearing this guy down and trying to build up this false sense of security with Caleb Williams. Now, nobody was saying Caleb was going to be a bust. He may not end up being a bust. But up to this point, anybody who watches the tape, like the Bears fans say to do, watch Drake May, watch Caleb Williams, it's not even close at playing quarterback, right? So let's dive into some other tweets that just fired off here. Don't take my word for it, right? Let's see what other people saying. Or first of all, don't take my word for it. Don't take Mike Florio's word for it. Don't take Wendell Ferreira's word for it. Don't take anybody, that's hating on the Bears here, right? Let's go around the league here. NFL researcher, all right? Let's see what we got here. So this is Tony Holzman. Shout out to him, okay? And it looks like he is, senior researcher at NFL, okay? So here we go. Caleb Williams has the lowest completion percentage at 58.1 in the NFL, despite throwing into tight windows at the lowest rate, 10.6% this season per Next Gen Stats. What does that mean? Ben Johnson is giving him a Grand Canyon window to throw into on a consistent basis. And he's still, even though they've got the lowest tight window percentage, meaning his receivers are probably open more than any other quarterback's receivers in the league, he's got the lowest completion percentage at 58.1. That's an interesting stat, right? Williams has thrown to open targets at the 4th highest rate, 50.5%. 50.5% of the passes he throws, the receivers are considered open. They're open targets. And wide open targets at a third highest rate at 27.8%, meaning they are running butt naked through the trailer park wide open, right? Tight window, less than 1 yard of separation. Open equals 3+ yards of separation. Wide open equals 5+ yards of separation. And again, Caleb Williams has the lowest completion percentage, 58.1 in the NFL, despite throwing in the tight windows at the lowest rate in the league. And you wonder why Ben Johnson is throwing these shots out there in the media and probably realizing, I shouldn't have said that. But damn, how can you not talk about it? It's literally the thing that's holding your team back right now is Caleb Williams. All right, let's move along. Let's go to this tweet we kind of covered earlier today. Kevin Cole over on X. Shout out to him. He's a great follow. At Kevin Cole, ____. Quarterback efficiency, EPA per play, minimum 150 dropbacks through week 13, Sunday Night Football. So not yesterday included. Jordan Love's leading the way. That's not what we're here to talk about, although it's kind of cool, right? EPA per dropback plus 0.31 for Jordan Love. There's Drake May. There's the one Ryan Poles said was absolute dookie. He was trash. He's cheeks, right? Okay, it's making me sick watching his tape, is what he says, right? A positive 0.28 right behind Jordan Love currently. Now, that he may have leapfrogged him because this tweet was before the Monday Night Football matchup last night where Drake May and the Patriots took care of business, right? Now, where's Caleb Williams? Is he 3? No. 4? No. 5? 6? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, there he is, 24th. He's tied with Carson Wentz, 24th in EPA per dropback, a 0.06. Like, how many stats do you have to see? How many clips do you got to see of him throwing inaccurate passes or holding the ball too long before you believe it? All right, so maybe you don't believe Kevin Cole. Let's jump over to this Twitter account here, all right? Here's First Round Mock tweeting out about it. Caleb Williams is producing backup level accuracy and processing time this season. So we talked accuracy to the 9, right? Now let's talk processing time. Williams has a 58.1% completion percentage, and he has the number 60 ranked time to throw at 3.30 seconds in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. Number 60 out of 65. So again, Caleb Williams, what else can you say about it? Now, we done another quick breakdown the other day of just a quick quarterback comparison of where these two rank. Because listen, that's what it comes down to in the National Football League is playing quarterback, right? That's if you don't have the quarterback, good luck winning the Super Bowl. So let's compare this Packers-Bears quarterback comparison going into this week. You know, the Bears fans always point out, well, we beat you at Lambeau last year. Notice how they conveniently leave out the fact that we took Jordan Love out of that game so we don't risk getting him hurt before the playoffs and let Malik Willis play. It's also the game where Christian Watson tore his ACL. You remember that, right? You were down all these different starters, and we just slowly started plucking people out of the game, getting ready for the playoffs. But boy, oh boy, they hang their hat on that victory. I cannot wait till Sunday. Packers-Bears quarterback comparison. Passer rating. Jordan Love, 104.3. That was 6th when this tweet was sent out earlier this week. Caleb Williams, 88.2, 23rd. All right. PFF passing grade. Jordan Love, second highest passing grade in the league at 89.0. Caleb Williams, 66.8. That was 16th best. By the way, I just got an update on it. I went through PFF and checked it after their last game, where they beat the almighty Eagles and Caleb must have balled out. 24th in passer grade now is where Caleb Williams ranks. So he dropped 8 spots in passing grade according to PFF. Yards per attempt, Jordan Love, 7.7. That's 7th best in the league. Caleb Williams, 6.9. That's 19th best in the league. Completion percentage, we talked about it. Jordan Love's 67%. He was ranked 11th. Caleb, 33rd at that 58.1. EPA per dropback, we just talked about it, right? He was 13th before the game against Philly, and I just showed you how he dropped in EPA per dropback too. And then, of course, completion percentage over expected. Jordan Love, listen to this. This is mind-boggling. 4.1% for Jordan Love. That's 6th best in the league. Completion percentage over expected. Caleb Williams, negative 8.5%. That was ranked 34th in the league. So again, why are we talking about this? Because Bears fans have convinced themselves that Caleb Williams is a good quarterback, that he's not just a good quarterback, he's a franchise quarterback. You know how many Bears fans are on Twitter saying they would choose Caleb Williams over Jordan Love? It's absolutely wild. The other thing too is Jared Goff. I did a poll question, right? Because I'm looking at some of the tweets, and you guys know how I roll with this. If I see something that I strongly disagree with, I'm like, I got to put a poll question up. Maybe I'm wrong here. I am wrong all the time. maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way. I put a poll question up. You've got one game to win, one football game to win, why do I do that? Because it tells you who is the best quarterback right now, not 4 years down the road, not 6 years down the road. Right now, you got to win one football game. Which quarterback would you take? Would it be Jared Goff or Caleb Williams? Last I checked, Jared Goff was winning at like 68%. So everybody that voted on that poll, and there was something like 300 votes, I believe, were saying, oh, I'm taking Jared Goff over Caleb Williams. But you're going to sit here and try to convince me that Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than Jordan Love after watching what Jordan Love just did to the Detroit Lions and watching what the Packers defense just did to Detroit on Thanksgiving Day and Jared Goff? Telling you, man, they're living in fantasy land. They're living in and you know what? I welcome it. But the fact that this whole Ben Johnson quote went under the radar and nobody's really talking about it, because you turn on ESPN, let me tell you, but Caleb Williams, he's got the Chicago Bears team humming. And their coach is going, man, I'm kind of worried about this passing game. If we could get the passing game cleaned up, we would be an elite team. It's funny how that works. So I want to know what you guys think in the chat, in the comments. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Am I being too critical of Caleb? And listen, if the argument is it's too early, that's cool. I can understand it. Like somebody said, yeah, your quarterback got to sit for 3 years, didn't he? Okay, it's a bad thing that we had a first ballot Hall of Famer that we started over Jordan Love for Jordan Love to learn from. How is that a negative thing? How does that even apply to the conversation, right? It's absolutely wild. So let's see what the chat's saying here. Jason Y for the Bears, their Super Bowls beating the Packers. It's so true. And that's the thing too, Jason, like we've been very vocal this week. Of course the Bears can beat the Packers with the way they're taking the ball away. If we go out there and lose the turnover differential, it's probably going to come down to a one-score game, and I wouldn't be surprised if the team that wins the turnover differential ends up winning the game, the turnover margin, right? So yeah, but what's hilarious is the Bears look at this game like, oh yeah, this is the only thing that matters because they're little bro. They're the little bro franchise. And I love how the fans talk as if they're on this high and mighty hill. They're the peak. When was the last time you won a Super Bowl, Haas? I love asking people that. How old were you when the Bears won the Super Bowl? I love asking Bears fans that. Most of them won't answer because they weren't even alive in 1985, right? It's really, really comical for sure. Joe Pack Joe, Lions fans would take Love right now. I saw that post. You got that right. You got that right. J. Cole, it ain't nothing to do with Caleb Williams, is what J. Cole says. All right. Jason Y says the Bears have ruined every quarterback that's ever played there. And again, it's because they continuously try to force them into the lineup. They try to put them in a position to where they cannot succeed with what they're putting around them. You know, they spent all that money on the wide receivers. They went and got Rome Odunze, a high draft pick, higher first round pick for Rome Odunze. They spent the money on DJ Moore, right? They went and got Cole. They already had Cole Kmet. They went and got Colston Loveland with a draft pick, putting all these weapons around Caleb, and he's still struggling to throw the football. Again, sooner or later, you got to look up and go, maybe he isn't the guy. And it sucks that he hasn't got a shot to work behind and sit behind someone who knows how to do it for so long, like Jordan did, like Aaron did. But that's on the organization. It goes hand in hand with what Jason's saying here. The Bears have ruined every quarterback that's ever played there. It's so true, man. So absolutely wild to see what's going on there in the in Chicago. I want to know what you guys think. Yeah, that's a good point, Jen. Jen says Jordan's 1 year ahead of Caleb as a starting quarterback. It's not like he's been starting for 3 years, right? Or however long, 3 years before Caleb. Yeah, it's just anything they can grab a hold of to. And again, I love pulling the old tweets. I'll end it with this. I love pulling up the old tweets from Bears fans. It's one of my favorite things to do. If somebody talks about Caleb Williams being elite and blah, blah, and you can tell when they don't know what they're talking about, you're like, man, you obviously have not looked at any of the analytics. You haven't looked at any of the efficiency ratings or anything that truly matters in terms of an offense staying on schedule. This isn't just padding stats. The whole purpose of a completion percentage being high and you wanting a more efficient quarterback is to stay on schedule. The more passes you're completing, the more second and short you're in as opposed to second and 10, right? Because if that ball is incomplete on first down, you decide to throw, which is supposed to be the easiest down to throw on. You're now starting second and 10 as opposed to second and 6 or even a second and 7 or 8, right? Just staying ahead of schedule. That's what's getting them behind the sticks. Now, luckily, they've got a running game, and we get to see how good that running game is this weekend. We get to see how good the Packers' run defense is this weekend as well. It's going to be a great measuring stick. And what's so awesome about this game, win, lose, or draw for either team, you get to see what the other one's got. and then you get to reset 2 weeks later, go down to Chicago and play them again. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I thought it was weird and didn't like it at first that they were playing twice in 3 weeks. Now I love it. I think it's just setting up for even more drama coming up. I think it's going to be a hard-hitting game. I think it's going to be the rivalries renewed. Matt LaFleur was asked about the comments that Ben Johnson made about him in the offseason. He said, have you put much thought into that? And he said, not really. Oh, are you kidding me? You know Matt LaFleur's got that in the back of his head. I just hope, like I said earlier in the week, I hope the players have his back. I hope the players are bringing it up in the locker room going, remember what he said about our head coach. And remember what that head coach does every single week going to the podium and defending us. He always takes the blame. He always takes the blame when the youngest team in the league is making mistakes, penalties, drop passes, all those things we've talked about this year, right? I'm excited to see how this team responds. It's going to tell us a whole lot about where this team is at for sure, man. Let's see one more here. Joe Pack Joe says Caleb has missed almost 50% of passes to Odunze with 3 or more yards separation. And you wonder why Odunze's dad went on Twitter kind of taking shots at Caleb too. You got all this stuff in the background that the mainstream media is going la, 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 la. And we keep combing through it and seeing on social media, and the fan bases are, hold up a minute. It's just wild to hear him talk about. I'm telling you, he's either going to turn a dramatic corner and take a huge step in being a franchise quarterback like some Bears fans think he is, or this is going to continue, and next year there's going to be a very, very tough decision, One, like what happened with Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. You guys remember that. It's a perfect example. Whether you think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback or not, and whether you think it's Shane Steichen, the offensive guru up there that's making things happen or not, put that to the side. Could you imagine this Bears team if they had a quarterback playing at the level that Daniel Jones has played this year? Imagine that. Imagine what happens then. Imagine Drake May with Ben Johnson in this Bears offense that's got an awesome running game. And really their defense is what's stunk it up right now. Their takeaways is what's really keeping them in the ball game. With Dennis Allen, former head coach with the Saints, coming up and being the DC, they've done a good job emphasizing taking the ball away. But could you imagine a Drake May on that team? Could you imagine Jordan Love in that offense too? Would he be as good as Green Bay's? I don't think so. I think we've got better players across the board. I think we've got better receivers. Maybe they might have a little bit better offensive line play in the running game. Although if you go back and watch the Detroit tape, there's some really good stuff there. Really good stuff. Sean Ryan impressed me going back and looking at it. We'll talk about it on Chalk Talk tonight. So going to be interesting, man. Again, Packers-Bears coming up this Sunday. So that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you're watching this video back later, hit us up in the comments. We want to hear from you. How do you feel about this Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams situation? Do you think there's something brewing there? Or are you thinking, no, it's just a big nothing burger? We want to hear from you. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live in the future. Like tonight, 6 p.m. Central, PTA Live, Chalk Talk, breaking down 15 of the most important plays from the Packers' Thanksgiving victory over the Detroit Lions. Appreciate everybody taking time to hop in here. I know y'all were in here early. We had to set it back a little bit. Thank you so much for your patience. We'll see you guys tonight for Chalk Talk. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack go.
There we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.